How do you do? This is Trixie the Golden Witch, the ranting, raving Ota Queen and mother of AniTube, and you're in the middle of ASE Presents Yig Studios Vlogist, where to commemorate my 31st birthday on August 8th, I am doing 31 days of consistent uploads right here on the channel, all building up to a special announcement at the end of the month that I'm not going to tell you anything about until then. So you need to be here when that happens. And the best way to, get from here to there is to just hype yourself up every single day and just get like stupid, ridiculously overblown hype for it. Like assume it's the greatest thing that you could possibly think of, and like it is that. That's what I'm telling you. But, we won't actually reveal it till we get there. So, a few days before the start of Vlogist, I made a video about where I am right now, in a very literal sense, like where I just moved to, the town that I'm in. I talked about the fact that I've moved a whole lot throughout my life, and just in general, I had a lyric once where I said, moving has become my very way of thinking. So it's very natural to me to find myself in new places and new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. And sometimes I can be a little bit crazy with that. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that I'm always sort of shifting gears and trying different things and different tactics to see like what's going to resonate with people, what's going to be effective and fun for me to do. In the past, when I've done a video every day all month, the first time I had some backlog beforehand, so it wasn't as painful at first. But when I got to the back end of the month, I was just like running out of ideas. And the second time I did it with no forethought or planning. I just launched into it like on August 1st of 2018, I think, 2019, one of those years. And that was a particularly brutal slog through getting all the videos done. This time, I already have the whole thing planned out. I know what videos are coming out every single day, and I went through all of them with my producer to be sure that they are, in fact, worthwhile ideas. Something that I've always had a problem with is that I just want to do whatever comes into my head all the time, and like when that happens, I end up making lots of just like weird stuff that again shifts gears really quickly and leaves people wondering like what is the overall story, like what is the narrative that you're pushing here, which is often like that I myself have lost the plot and I'm like trying to figure out what the story is, but doing it in a very public way. And to me that can be exciting. It can be fun to like keep up with what someone is doing to like the granular level, but I understand why a lot of people like I'm just trying to be entertained. I'm not trying to like have to research the people who I follow to understand what the fuck their videos are about, and I'm thinking particularly about a period in 2020 where I was cranking out lots of content, but it was just so weird and so all over the place and so disconnected that if you weren't following all of it, then there's just no way you could keep up with it. And I don't want to create that kind of feeling again. I talked about in the Vlogist launch vlog how, I want each of these to be a very accessible video, something that has an obvious like narrative and is something that you can follow and get something out of. So in that sense, I think that like what I can give you right now is like a peek into where I'm at creatively and what I think is possible creatively, because throughout my career I've been somebody who was extremely independent. I created a job out of nothing, essentially. There was no such thing as a My Little Pony analysis channel, but that's what I started, and I started making money doing it, and then there were suddenly hundreds of them. And, I moved into anime where there were people who were doing reviews of it, and there's some analytical content in the written sphere, but there really wasn't like a analytical anime YouTube sphere until I went and created that. And in spite of the fact that I, created these communities and had all these people doing similar stuff to what I was doing, I never became very collaborative about it because I was honestly just very uncomfortable as a person, and so constantly striving to be in a state of comfort by getting to experience things that were gratifying to me. And for me, like, making videos could be like an instant gratification where, like, if I say something that sounds good to myself, or if other people tell me that what I say sounds good and I get good feedback on a video, then that's, like, the same kind of catharsis I get from like smoking marijuana or eating food. It's like just something that is like an instant gratifying sensation that makes me feel better about myself, but it doesn't necessarily better my situation or put me in a position to do anything other than instant gratification. And that was sort of the pit I fell into back when I was doing vlogs like constantly back in 2016. And that wasn't like any kind of structured or sensical methodology behind it. I was just like making vlogs out of boredom and releasing them as frequently as possible. So there were times where I'd put out 4 vlogs in a day and then nothing for a week, and then a vlog every day for 4 days, and then 10 vlogs in a day and then nothing for a week or something. You know, it was totally sporadic. It was just based on like my emotions and my feeling the need to get something done so that I wasn't just like sitting around being miserable with myself. And when I would work with other people, it was really hard for me to push back against other people's ideas or suggestions or what they want to do. Like, I tend, when I work with people, to want to help them to realize their ideas and not want to like, you know, like poison their creativity. But when those people are working for me and towards the ends of what I'm trying to accomplish, it's like, you know, if they're just kind of doing what's fun for them and it's not necessarily like what's good for my career, then that can be unhelpful, you know? And so I've really tried to surround myself with people who are actually thinking about my career, particularly my producer, Riley, who's, you know, made this current vlog of month of vlogs possible, hence why it's called ASE Presents, you know, and I have incorporated myself into ASE Presents as a group. So, you know, ASE is the group that is presenting my ability to be able to make an organized and structured series of vlogs every day and like give people the content they want. You know, I have a tendency to kind of flake off and disappear. I was putting out tons of videos earlier this year, and then I kind of like blinked off the map for a month. And part of that is because, like, I don't always understand how to make content out of what I'm doing. Like, I went to Too Many Games, this fantastic convention. I had a really great time. I met tons of interesting people, and, like, I was even, like, it ended up filming the Rex Viper show that was there because of Riley. He was assigned to do it, and I was put on a camera duty. So, you know, and it was crazy because, like, last year at Too Many Games, I got engaged during the Rex Viper show. And then this year, like, I was filming it, and they opened with Supersonic, the Bad Religion song, cut in with a song from Sonic the Hedgehog, which was just mind-blowing to me. So it was crazy that I was, like, filming it. And you can, you know, if you go look up any Rex Viper footage from that show this year, I filmed some of that, left stage camera. So that's my handiwork. So yeah, like stuff like that, even though that was a great opportunity for me and a lot of fun, I didn't really know how to present that as content for my audience. Like, I could tweet that I got to do this Rex Viper show, but that doesn't really generate much or tell many people. And like, I can tell the story of it on a podcast, or I could do this or that, but like, you know, with Riley, we have much more of a game plan when we go into a situation about like, okay, this is like like we're going in here to get this piece of content that's going to make sense for these reasons, and it's going to be released on this date because, you know, this is when people will want to see it. And so like that kind of thinking through every step of the process, instead of it just being like scattershot ideas. And I know there are some people who might think that they're like, oh, I love the scattershot stuff, but no one loves all the scattershot stuff. There's just not anybody who's ever come through and just loved every single piece of something I was doing when I was like over hyperactively putting stuff out. You know, people will remember the highlights. I want all of them to be highlights, especially like even if it's different people who consider each video to be a highlight, as long as every single one is something that somebody is like, no, that was actually my favorite video you've ever done. That would be great. You know, and that's what will separate this month from something like, I'm remembering the Digi Daily series back when I was Digi, and it was like 55 days of like pre-recorded cut pieces of podcasts. Like some of them were entertaining stories, but just none of them was like a memorable video you would ever go back and click on, because they were just made to be daily. They weren't made to be good or interesting. So, you know, again, going in with some kind of plan is very important. Incidentally, you know, even though I'm going to be doing a vlog every day for this month, and it won't be like that forever, but I will be probably forever in the ASE daily vlogs that are released on patreon.com/ASE presents, because already for 219 days as of this recording, Riley and Mint have been logging their whole lives, everything they do, in a series of daily vlogs. And so now that I am working with them all the time, I'm constantly showing up in the vlogs, and you know, a lot more of the background process of stuff like Vlogust will turn up there. So if you want to get more into like the back end side of what I do and like sort of peer behind the curtain of it, you know, that would be the place to do that, and to get like more of the just daily life honesty. Although I will have a vlog in a few days talking about my daily life, just to pitch what ASE Daily is like for all of you before you know, spend a measly $3 to get 220 videos immediately. So throughout this year, I've kind of split back and forth between doing like lots of anime coverage and then like not a whole lot of anime coverage for different spots. And a lot of that's just because anime is not really hype right now. I mean, you got Spy Family, and that's great, and Chainsaw Man's coming later, and that's going to be the most hyped an anime ever is. But it's pretty much now at a point where like every show is either like one of the shows that people care about, or just no one fucking cares. And like, I used to have a lot of fun like going through all the no one fucking cares shows and kind of sorting like what's kind of good versus what's not that great. But like at this point, watching like mid-tier shows is really difficult for me if they're not popular. If it's not something that like I'm trying to investigate to figure out why people like it. If I like start up a show and I'm like, well, this is not as popular as something else because it's just not that good, then that's just not interesting. Like, yeah, we all understand that something that's mid is not going to necessarily be popular. If something that I think is mid is super popular, that's way more interesting, because it begs me to like figure out why I think it's mid and why other people don't. I used to be really like in the pocket of being like cynical and negative about shows, because like I said, like being so uncomfortable with myself put me in this headspace of like, I have to, like, anything that's like taking my time but it's not giving me enough back, like, feels painful, and like I have to do something, like I have to retaliate about it. So it was like I would, you know, watch shows that I didn't necessarily love and then get this like bitterness and then like redistribute that. And sometimes that bitterness was over the fact that like, yeah, the only show anyone's talking about is one that I don't like, and so now I'm like bitter that I have to talk about it. And I just think that's kind of a sucky place to be at. Like, to me, what makes, like, for instance, the Asterisk War Sucks video so fun is that, like, nobody was really stepping up to defend that show except for, like, the people who I make fun of in the video. That, you know, like, it's never been, like a very contentious stance to have that show sucks. Whereas, like, Sword Art Online, I've always maintained that, like, there's an alternate path through life where I was very insistent that show was great, and that's what I'm known for, because the show is very popular. It's more beloved than it is hated. And while like culturally there came to be like more hatred of SAO than defense of it, that's just because it's kind of easier to pick apart what's bad in a story than it is to pick apart what's good in one. And like figuring out what's good about SAO, even if you don't necessarily like the show, would be more difficult and would be a more interesting prospect, but it would take someone being that good of a critic. And I wasn't that good of a critic, you know, for a long time. I think now I probably could make a video about what makes SAO good. Let me know if you think that's something I need to do. So in spite of the fact that like I haven't been keeping up with like the modern anime and talking about that too much, like I've mostly been focused on keeping my anime alphabet series consistent, which is where I talk about classic anime every single month. There's been like a conception of me here and there that like I stop talking about anime or did or have or did at various points. I've never stopped talking about anime. There was a period of time in like early 2021 where I was putting out more music videos than I was anime analysis videos, and people took that as like, you've shifted to music. And to me, the point of it was always to just do everything. Like, I wanted to be involved in all kinds of stuff, and like my music career is at the height it's ever been as part of the Sucker Punch group. We have over 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, which is a lot more than I had individually. So like being a part of this group like does give me a lot of enthusiasm for hip hop, but it's never been something that I'm doing like to divert from talking about anime or loving anime. Anime to me goes a lot deeper than like the momentary stuff or like having to talk about it every week to like reaffirm that you like it. I mean, I've been into anime since I was a small child and I'm 31. It's just not going anywhere. It's a part of me. So like, you know, I selected shows for Anime Alphabet that I knew I would want to talk about. Like, it's only shows that I really, really want to talk about that have historical relevance, that are, like, interesting enough and famous enough that I know that they can be talked about. But all of them are selected because I really want to talk about them. So, you know, like, finishing the Eureka 7 series is the first thing I want to do to continue Anime Alphabet. You know, I've got episode 2 coming out on the 4th, which is in 2 days from when you're seeing this. So, you know, that series ended up being so massive. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, inside of Anime Alphabet there is a sub-series of Eureka 7's Anime Alphabet, of which one part exists that's over an hour long already. And, you know, by the end of it, it'll be like a 7-hour fucking video that I'm going to cut all together when it's done. But it was just a matter of, like, realizing that I could say everything there was to say about Eureka 7, and it would be very gratifying for me, and I'd never have to talk about it again, and it would just be an open and shut case, and I could go, you know, and like, that's what I really want with anime, is to like just keep covering stuff that I really care about, that I can say a lot about, and not worry about like keeping up with it or trying to like prove that I'm still into anime or something. Like, there are several hundred anime I will always love, period. You know, Mobile Suit Gundam, ooh, excitement. And later this month, I'm going to recommend 420 anime that you should watch, or more. Because a few years ago, I had a 250 plus anime recommendations video that I recorded pre-transition, and so it's not online anymore. I'm sad about it, and people have, you know, people told me like that they would go back to that video and re-reference it all the time. So I want that to be something that exists. And there's way more anime that have come out since then that are worth recommending. So, you know, it'll be a buffed up super episode. So yeah, that's most of where I'm at. My emotional headspace is like, I want to collaborate with people on things that an audience will like. I'm not interested in making stuff that's like just for my personal satisfaction, because I already know what I'm capable of. You know, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I was capable of. Now I know. So, you know, there's certain things that I can do that I'm not now that I will in the future, but only when I know that it's something that's going to satisfy everybody, you know? I'm not interested in artistic or intellectual masturbation, basically. I want it to be good for both of us. So, if you want it to be good for you, go ahead and sign up to my patreon.com/goldenwitchfire, because I will rant about anything you want for at least $5. If you sign up, DM me, tell me what you want me to rant about. I will not watch anything for these rants. It takes too long. Just, you know, if I don't know anything about the subject, I'll tell you and we'll sort through it. And all of the rants will be done in a live stream at the end of the month. You can see that there was a video for last month. Next time it's going to be a proper live stream. I just got to plan it better than I did last time. And of course, when you turn up to my live streams, you can always submit rant requests by way of super chat, and I'll answer them there on the stream. You can also find bonus articles and podcasts of mine on goldenwitch.substack.com. If you're somebody who prefers reading or doesn't mind reading, that would be the best place to support me. Otherwise, you could find links to everything I do and all the places my content is found in the descriptions and all over the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow in Vlogust Anime Forever.